My shipment has arrived. And what is this shipment? Well, stick around and you'll find out in just a few moments. That's right. The Africa they won't show you. And I want to thank you for joining me today. And I've just been talking about my experiences on the continent of Africa and all of what I've learned and all of what I've experienced in such a very short amount of time. Now, the shipment that I'm talking about is a shipment of items that I actually, when I was in Ghana a couple of weeks ago, I actually packed these items myself. I said, I want to know what this process is like. And the only way that I'm going to be able to do that is to pack the items, send the items, see how long it takes, see how much it costs. And because this is a part of a bigger picture. Sometimes I've talked about the tours and everything that we're doing, but this is much bigger than tours. This is actually about creating opportunities. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. But what I'm going to do is open up this box and show you what's on the inside, tell you a little bit about what's happening. I posted the picture, but I wanted to make sure that I kind of brought this to you in real time. And that's one of the things that I'm doing on these different platforms is bringing this to you in real time. So, all right, so here's the box. So heavy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the box, and I got my little knife here, and I'm going to cut it open. And like I said, I packed it, so I know what's in here. I went to Ghana Post, and when I went to Ghana Post, let me move the microphone a little bit. I went to Ghana Post and went through the whole process. And they check your stuff for customs and all that. And I'll tell you how much it costs. Now, I said it was 2 boxes. I'm only going to do 1 box right now. And I can't remember what I put in this box, but I know some of what's in the box for sure. All right. So there we go. All right. So now here we are. So in the box. Oh, this was a gift that someone gave me. So it was what is this? This is some it's called hair food. So got some hair food. I don't know if y'all anybody need some hair food. You're hair hungry out there. I got some hair food for you. But let's see. So in this bag, I was debating if I was going to keep the bag. So this is the bag, my man. All right, so nothing in the bag, but I know I put it in there because I can use it for something later. Another bag, you can use it for something later. So here we have this is raw black soap. And folks love black soap. And this is straight from the village. Just so everybody knows, this is straight from the village that we are supporting and helping to build a school. So we're creating economic opportunities for them. And so what we're going to do is take this raw black soap and we're going to package it. Now, some people might want to just raw straight out the, out of the paper. We'll make that available, but then we're also going to offer it in, cut it down and then put it in the smaller packages. And so this is what black soap looks like. For those who don't know, it is made from cocoa pods. That is what it is made from. And I believe palm oil is a part of it. But folks love black soap, just like they love shea butter. And so this is what it looks like. And this is raw black soap from Ghana. This is not from China. This is from Ghana. This is from the motherland. This is the real deal. And so what it does for many people, they say that it helps them with their skin, for people dealing with different skin conditions. A lot of people just love black soap. Now, back here, I have the liquid black soap as well. And so we also got chocolate, we got cocoa butter. In this particular box, though, it was only the black soap that came. And to know that this actually came directly from Ghana, didn't come from any place else, didn't come from any place else. So now, the reason why I wanted to do this myself and go through the process is because one, I needed to know the cost. And I want to be able to, my whole thing is being able to bridge the gap between the African diaspora and the continent of Africa, and being able to see how we can support, one, from an economic perspective, but then also how we can glean from the insight and the knowledge of those who are already indigenous to different parts of Africa. So this comes from Ghana. Ghana is the #2 producer of cocoa in the world. There's so many natural resources in Ghana. Of course, it used to be formerly known as the Gold Coast because of the gold. And whereas the Ivory Coast was known as the Ivory Coast because of what? Ivory from the elephants. But you also have rubber production there. You have oil. You have different, stones and minerals and all, and oil. All of that is represented, especially across along West Africa. And when you think about Nigeria and all of the oil that comes out of Nigeria, and so what I recognize is that many of us here in America are clueless as to the opportunities on the continent of Africa, because we have all these images in our mind that's just so, they painted a picture, and the picture was intentional. And I'm going to show you something I'm going to show you a picture that's going to help you understand what happened. Now, everybody's thinking Africa, 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 Africa. But if you go to Africa, this is much of what Africa really looks like right here. So you see more than 50 countries, and for many of these countries, these are the languages that have now taken over some of the indigenous languages. And if you look at all of the French colonies. I mean, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, even Egypt is a combination of French and English, and I'm sure some other languages in there because Egypt was colonized several different times. But then even when you look here through Central Africa, and you see, you look at Niger, and you see Mali, and you see Burkina Faso, you see Ivory Coast, which is also known as Cote d'Ivoire, you see Senegal, you see Guinea, and so I think that's Guinea, and then you also see these all are French, Benin and Togo and Cameroon, which is a combination of French, English, and German. And so you look and you just kind of go through here, and you begin to see the Congo and Central African Republic. And you look and you're like, wow, the French had such an impact on the continent. I think they have like 22 countries. But then you begin to look and you see the English influence. And this is why you see down here in South Africa, which is almost like little UK. And that's why you see the strain of the UK strain of the COVID-19, the coronavirus, or I guess the new variant of it. You see the UK being impacted by it, and you see parts of South Africa being impacted by it. But you come through here and you see South Africa, and you have Zimbabwe, Botswana, Namibia, and so it's very interesting to see this. And then you have the Portuguese over here. And then you come up and you see in Tanzania, you have German and English. And then you come up through Uganda, you have Kenya, and then over in Somalia, and then you have Eritrea, which has Italian influence. And then you have Djibouti, which is right not far from there. And then Ethiopia, although the reason why they don't say colonial languages is because they say that they weren't colonized. Well, they weren't physically colonized. Let me say this. They were not physically colonized, but mentally, every one of these countries in Africa has some sort of colonization influence upon it. But when you go to Ethiopia, they definitely speak English there, and then they have Amharic, which is one of their traditional languages. And then you see Libya there with the Italian, and then who's that over there? Is it Western Sahara? I think that's the Spanish. And then you see the Portuguese. So you see Portugal. The Portuguese got into Angola, and I think Guinea-Bissau, and the French got Madagascar as well. And it's just fascinating when you begin to look at how colonization has impacted the continent of Africa. So now, what does that have to do with black soap and cocoa butter and everything else? Well, the thing is, these particular countries, they gave these borders because these borders are not the actual borders of Africa. Okay, the countries and all of this was established by the colonial powers at the Berlin Conference in 1885. And so prior to that, however, you had this. And this was actually a picture that I discovered when I went to Salvador in Brazil. And this is what the tribal setup looks like, or looked like, I should say, in the tribal kingdoms and how different things were. And you can kind of see here, Ashanti, you see the language. This is all in Portuguese. And so you see where they're identifying where these different tribes were living. And so you see the Ashanti, the Fanti, that's right there in Ghana. And then you see it, how it's kind of broken down throughout the continent. And so that's why, and another reason why I want everybody to understand, because we just talk about Africa, but very different. It was even, this gives an even deeper understanding as to the diversity on the continent, and when you the different climates. I mean, you'll get every climate on the continent of Africa. You will get the snow, you'll get the rain, you'll get the scorching heat, you'll get the mild temperatures, you'll get the desert. You have everything on that continent. And one of the biggest things is that, as you begin to learn the history and you learn the culture of what happened, you see how when you look at that map and you see those colonial influences, and I mean, you can come and do the same thing here in America and see the colonial influence, and how many people don't even think about it. And so we just kind of struggle. My thing is, let's bridge the gap. And let's be able to utilize, and since we're in this capitalistic global system, let's now participate in it and support those people who are on the ground. So when I show you this black soap, this is not something coming from your money is not going to, like, if somebody buys whatever, whether it's the black soap, the chocolate that we have, all of these things are intentionally coming from Ghana, or when we start working with Ivory Coast, we're going to be doing that and supporting the people on the ground so that they can build their schools. So that, and the benefit is, if it's something that we enjoy, we're able to consume it, and it brings joy to our life. Now it's a win-win. And so that's what you see me doing, bridging this gap. And I had to go through the process to know how to do it. A lot of times we'll say, okay, I just want to figure out how to do it. I want to do import, export, and we're not willing to go on the ground and do it. So now let me run a couple things down for you. In this particular order, it was 75 pounds worth of black soap and cocoa butter. And what I had to do was I don't have enough to put in a shipping container and ship across the Atlantic. So I don't have enough to do that. So I had to now say, okay, I negotiated a price to be able to get these items in a way where it's supporting what's happening in the village and supporting the efforts of being able to do the construction at this particular school. So you're looking at 75 pounds. Now, I don't know what it costs to ship 75 pounds internationally. So I'm going to the Ghana Post and saying, okay, what is the deal? So this is when you learn that you can only put a certain amount per box. So it was 2 boxes. And so with that, okay, no problem. Well, let's walk through it. So what it ended up costing me for the 75 pounds was $430 to be able to ship. Now, somebody might say, well, then just get on the plane and do it like that. And some people do that. But by the time you're going to end up spending depending on which airline, you may end up spending something close to that anyway. But that's the cost of doing business. I mean, when you get things shipped from China, I've done business in China, and I've had it shipped across the Pacific, and had it shipped across the from LA, from the port when it got out of customs, and had it shipped all the way across the country. So I know what these shipping costs can be, and so you incorporate that into cost of what it, when you take it to market and you sell it, then you of course incorporate your shipping costs, and then you add your profit and everything else that you're going to put into it. But here's the thing, we do this every day. People around the world are doing it every day. When you look at these images of these countries that have dominated in Africa, when you look at these countries, you begin to see that that's what they have been doing. That's what the name of the game has always been. That's why they went into East and West Africa and Central Africa and took the people, because that was an export. How about that? The people were an export at one point in time, and they were like one of the biggest economies coming off of the continent for many of these regions and countries and all of that. And so when you begin to understand how the game is played, because most of us didn't know how the game was played, or we had a concept of it, but we never thought that we could possibly get in the game. And I'm not talking about human aspect of it, but I'm talking about exporting and being able to provide a service here in America, or a product in America. So for me, I said, well, let me go over here, because some people, they want to get into that. When we do our tours, my thing is, how can we connect people to opportunities? But it's one thing when you talk about it from hearing about it from someone. It's another thing that when you go in the post office and you know what that process is, and you have to fill out these forms. Hold on, let me switch the camera here to the others. You have to fill out these forms, and you got to go through all of that, and then you got to tip a few people, to make sure everybody's happy, and you go through that whole deal. Now I know what the process is like. Everything was delivered flawless, no issues, no problems. Everything was perfect, and so now I'm able to keep moving forward, and then we'll be able to bring these, because we're going to be doing an online store where we're going to be offering different items. Not just we're going to offer the black soap, we're going to offer the cocoa butter, we're going to offer the chocolates. We're actually going to be offering chocolate not just from Ghana but also from Cote d'Ivoire, and we are intentionally working with those who are local to be able to bring the money directly to them, because you have the big companies that we know about, that we eat the over sugared chocolate and stuff that we eat. They get their chocolate from the same place. They go right there and they put Belgium name on it, but for real, they got it from somewhere. In most cases, because you can get cocoa in other parts of the world, but the continent of Africa produces like 75% of the world's cocoa, and out of that, Ivory Coast is number one producer in the world. Ghana's number two producer of the world for cocoa. So how do we now take our dollars, whether we're in the US or the UK or wherever we are, where we have access to resources, and support these different companies, and so they don't get drowned out by this right here, because that's always been the name of the game. And those who have been indigenous, or those who are descendants of those who were indigenous, they never wanted those people to sit down at the table and have a say. They do have this new free trade agreement within the continent of Africa between the different countries, which looks to be promising. But then, you have 43 million people who, many of them are descendants of Africa, who have resources and just need to be exposed to the opportunities to be able to make it mutually beneficial. I always said to myself, because I think the striking thing for me was when I went to Africa, I saw everybody from these countries there. I saw everybody. I was like, well, what in the world? I said, well, how did this happen? What's going on? But I saw very few people who were like me. Now, I saw a lot of people who were, obviously from Africa. Yes. I mean, you go there and you'll see more chocolate than any. I mean, I'm talking about chocolate. I'm talking about people. There's so many brown people. It's like the most beautiful thing in the world to see, because you really understand that you're not a minority, and you see the beauty in that. But then you also see this other influence that has this kind of stench on it. It's kind of like this influence, this colonial influence. It does have a stench. I mean, some people love it, but I'm realizing it got a stench to it because of what's behind it and how it exploits the people and how it exploits their talent and exploits their skills. And so we have to learn how to exploit the educational opportunities that are afforded to us and the economic opportunities that are afforded to us. And so to kind of calm that stench down and say, hey, look, it is what it is, but I'm going to become educated. I have some resources, and I'm just as smart as you are, if not just a tad bit smarter. I don't know. I'm just, I can come to the table as well. And so because of that, it's just a matter of us being informed and understanding that there's nothing to fear there, and nothing to fear there more than what we have going on here or in other places in the world. And so when we start seeing someone else sitting down and saying, hey, there are possibilities, we can do this. And as we begin to start doing it, it's like it opens the door for another generation. And that's what's important for me, being able to expose our youth so they can see that there's nothing to be afraid of. Don't be afraid of the continent of Africa. Don't be afraid. Yes, and I can sit there and talk for another hour about the challenges that are there, because a lot of times what people do, yeah, it's nice and all, but they got these challenges, and you see what's going on in Nigeria, and you see what's going on here. And yes, SARS, absolutely. Child labor, slavery, absolutely. But it's spoken from a standpoint of as if that stuff is not happening in America. As if human trafficking is not happening in America, right in Washington, D.C., through all of the recent and past administrations, as if police brutality is not happening in America and abuse of power is not happening in America. So it's that type of thing to say, yes, there are going to be challenges everywhere, but we somehow figure out a way to make it happen here. So now what if we're able to broaden our horizons and understand that as we're learning more, just like everybody else is fearless and they show up and go take over and do what they need to do. Well, why we don't have to go and take over anything. What we can do is bring our resources and help build up. And so at that point now, as we are many of us are descendants of the same people. If we go back, we're descendants of the same people. Now it's like kind of like bridging that gap and restoring something that was so violently destroyed. Now, is that going to happen in every case? No, it's not going to happen in every case. Is everybody going to be feeling that? No, everybody's not going to be feeling that. But there's a group of people who will be, and that's who I'm talking to. I'm talking to that group of people. Those who don't care, aren't interested. I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to the people who are saying, listen, I see that there are other opportunities outside of America, because America sees that there are other opportunities outside of America. That's why it's all over the place. That's why you see these stimulus packages and stuff being passed and money being dispersed all over the world, because even America in its corporate mindset understands that it's very limited in its ability to do what it does here, simply because it produces so very little here and is dependent upon the rest of the world to be able to import different items. So as we start using our economic mind and we start using our wise mind, we are able to position ourselves differently, and that's what you see. That's what you see me doing. That's why we have different trips available for those who are interested in going for this year: April, June, July, August, October, November, December. We're going to Ghana. We have 2 trips that are going to be going to Tanzania, and of course, obviously, if something changes as a result of COVID-19, then we will definitely do that. But we will definitely be mindful of that and respect that. But understanding that even when it comes to COVID-19, the continent of Africa has been nowhere near as impacted as America. And so, and while cases are rising all over the world, but even still, as America has set the tone for what not to do. And so my time on the continent of Africa was the anxiety went away. The COVID anxiety went away because of being in a space where it just wasn't dominating everyone's life. And now some people didn't take it seriously. Now, I'm not saying that these people, I'm not saying don't take it seriously. I'm saying take it very seriously. But just understanding the rest of the world does not beat to the same drum of what is going on in America. That's the point. So just like in Flint, Michigan, when they had the water issue and people couldn't drink the water in Flint, Michigan, that didn't affect the people in Miami. And so in our American mind, we think that because of what's going on in America is what the rest of the world should be dealing with. That it's not necessarily like that in many parts of Africa, even though they need to, even though the virus has been there and is there, but it just has not affected the continent the same way. So anyway, with that said, just wanted to give you that update tonight, and I'll have more coming your way and be sharing with you. If you want to go on one of our tours, this is some of what we talk about, the exporting aspect of it. I have my team on the ground in Ghana working up a plan to help show people if they're interested in doing it. We go to the village where you can see where this is made and how they do it. So that's that's just a part of the journey. If you're interested in it, you can definitely partake in that. And if you go to maximumimpacttravel.com, sign up on the website, then you'll get updates as to when we're going to be hosting more conversations about it. I'm in the process of hosting an online discussion and really highlighting all of the opportunities, or some of the opportunities, because there's so many opportunities on the continent, being able to highlight some of those opportunities. And as you are able to learn more and more, I hope that your horizons are broadened and you're able to benefit from all of what the continent of Africa has to offer. So until next time, we'll be back. But here's a little reminder of what the Africa they won't show you.